Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. My name is Sue Roscoff. AbilityMKE Now is where we are dedicated to inclusion, connection, community, bringing people together, being relevant to everybody. And that's exactly what we do here with bringing people with disabilities and people who don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our everyday lives. We all have different and unique abilities, and that is what we celebrate. Here at Ability MKE Now, we celebrate the ability in all of us. I am so excited to bring in our wonderful guest today. Jeff Pearson is joining us out of Colorado, and he's got an amazing background. He's an entrepreneur, TV host, speaker, and nonprofit founder who is also focused on connection, resilience, and meaningful impact. He's the creator and host of 6 Degrees of Impact, which is a TV show exploring how small actions, relationships, and purpose-driven connections create real-world change. He's also the host of Invisible Condition on E360 TV. Invisible Condition is a show that amplifies the voices of people living with conditions you can't see, while spotlighting organizations and companies making a difference in this space. And I know we've got more to talk on beyond this, but Jeff, I am so happy that you are joining us. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun.
So I absolutely love your story. I did go on your website and got a little bit of info on what you're all doing and how you got where you are here. You want to share
Okay.
a little bit of your background and what led you to doing all the great things that you do?
Sure. Thank you. I have done a lot of things over the last 26, 27 years of being married. In my working life, you name it, I've probably done it. Very eclectic resume. Started off doing just whatever you had to, right? You get married and you just kind of do what you got to do to keep the lights on, and then as everything progressed and we kind of moved through our careers, I did find something I really liked to do, and then this. I don't. First of all, I don't believe in accidental introductions. They're all. I mean, it's all lined up, man. None of it is accidental. So I know this was meant to be, but I was introduced to the network president of a TV channel and told her my story, and the rest is history. We've had a TV show, Invisible Conditions, been on the air for 3 years, almost 3 years. April 4th will be 3 years. It's been on the air, and 6 Degrees of Impact is something we're launching in a couple of months. So it's going to be
Oh,
it's been a wild ride for sure. So yeah.
excellent. So with the show that you're doing now, then can you give us a little bit of info on how you, I know that you've had a lot of guests that you bring in. So I'm just wondering if you want to share a little bit about the guests that you bring in and the highlights that you do.
So yeah, I can talk about the guests. Yeah, we've had. I mean, the idea of the show is to highlight people that are living and yet thriving despite some sort of medical condition you can't see from the outside, right? So that could include anything from traumatic brain injuries to fibromyalgia, endometriosis, schizophrenia, bipolar, POTS, lupus, diabetes. I mean, I feel like you could throw a rock in any direction, anywhere in the country, and hit 5 people with some sort of invisible something, right? And all those stories matter. And so I love bringing people on that are doing something awesome beyond their condition, right? So maybe they're a best-selling author, or maybe they're a world-class speaker, or maybe they've created a nonprofit or a company around a solution that they found for something related to the condition they live with, or whatever. The point is, they didn't lay down and wait to die. they said, okay, I got too much to do. I'm going to get to it here, and we're going to see what kind of cool stuff we can do in spite of this condition. So those are the guests that we have. And I've had guests from, I think, every continent on the planet so far. Maybe almost. I don't know, maybe not everyone, but almost all of them. From India to Australia to France to, I mean, it's been amazing. And we've been on the air 3 years, almost 3 years, twice a week. So we've got hundreds of episodes out there. So, um, lots to choose from. So it's been pretty awesome.
I love that. And to be able to highlight folks that when I think about invisible disabilities, I mean, that's something that I think for the obvious reason, and being it's not visible to the person walking by, that really is something that we forget about all too
Yeah.
easily, and don't realize the challenges that people have. They might, the person that is that you meet at the store, that maybe they are standing there in pain and they've got this chronic pain going on, and there's no way for you to know that, but there's something that you don't know what's going on. And the word kindness always comes to my mind of, be kind to the people around you, because until you're walking in their shoes, you have no idea what's going on there.
Right. You are 100% true and correct. And it's funny you mentioned kindness, because that the last conference that I spoke at about 2 months ago, that was the focus. It was called the Inspire to Action Conference. And last year I was a vendor there. And this year they asked me to speak, which was an absolute honor. I love the guy. The guy that puts it on is absolutely incredible. And so it was just an honor to be included. And that was the theme this year, was kindness. So it was like, okay, here we go. And it can be tough to be kind, when you're going through it, when you're in the stuff, in the muck, going through it. But it always works out better if you are, kindness always wins. So yeah,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
makes a difference having that compassion around you. And I know with others I've spoken to that, that you just don't understand, that's a piece of it's like, you're right.
Yeah.
I haven't walked in those shoes. I don't know
Right.
what it's like, but that's where, with what you're doing, is so important to be able to share that with people and to educate others, and to have the awareness that how
Yeah.
else are they going to get that? Because people, some of that can be hard to talk about, and that
Yeah.
people are willing to share their stories is so valuable.
I agree. These stories, man, and there's been so many stories with so many people. I've lost count of the number of people that I've had on the show, and they'll come on the show, and we'll do the pre, interview, and then we'll do the show, and then we'll get done with all of that. So I've talked to them twice for probably a couple hours now, and at the end of the show, they go, "Oh, that was fun. That was my first time ever doing anything like that." And I go, "What?" It's like, wait a second. So telling your story is important, and when you tell your story, even if it's your first time, it can be really cool. And so I didn't even know it was their first time, but they got to come on and tell their story. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, with all the different guests, all the different conditions. And of course, living with one myself, I was born with one that nobody would know anybody has by looking at me walking down the street. But it's the condition I was born with, requires brain surgery every once in a while. So so it's been a little crazy over the last few years, but I'm 15 surgeries in so far, and 7 of those are brain surgeries. And my first brain surgery, when we found out this condition was here, was at 2 weeks old. So I started off really early, on this road of craziness and chaos and surgery. So I can relate to just about anybody coming on the show, to say the least. Uh,
Amazing. Well, and you have a foundation, I believe, that you have started. You want to talk about that a little bit as well?
yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yes, our organization, our foundation, our nonprofit is a 501c3 nonprofit. It's called Hydro with Hope. And there's a ton of organizations out there for medical conditions that are like research and development and better treatments and better devices and better, that's not my gig. I'm not the technical guy. I'm the people guy. So I wanted to have a boots on the ground kind of resource for people, for families to use right away. And so we published a journal called My Hydro Warrior Story. The condition is hydrocephalus. That's kind of a hard one to spell. So we did My Hydro Warrior Story, and it's a fill in the blank journal that walks people through that experience of holy cow, I got to do what now? I got to have what kind of surgery again? You know, uh, and because brain surgery is no joke, you go poking around in the brain like that, you never know what's going to happen. So to help those families, one of the things we did was to publish that journal, and so it's about 150 pages long, and it's fill in the blank journal, and it's meant to be a tool to help you first of all, keep track of information, so that when you go to the doctor and go to the follow-ups and all that stuff and look at the book 20 years from now, you remember everything that happened during that surgery. But then there's some fun stuff in there, like, hey, what was that funky flock of seagulls hair after surgery, right? And that they, move it around and make it look weird. Or what's that? Let me see a picture of that new gnarly scar you got from surgery or whatever, to just make it fun. And
Mhm.
so yeah, and then of course I love to talk to families that are going through it too, because I've been through it multiple times, and I like to encourage them, give them hope. So
That, oh my goodness. And with all the things that you are speaking to, it's funny. I have different organizations and people popping in my head as you're talking. Is
bring it
our
on.
normal co-host that we have with us here tonight, Michael Martin Hummel. His website is wheelsandwarriors.com. So when you mention
Nice.
warriors, like that's a theme here. You got to be strong. You got to keep moving. And
Yep.
and speaking of hope too, that's one of the things that's dear to our hearts is Project Die Hard, and that's all about providing hope to our veterans
Mm,
because of the incredibly ridiculous statistic out there of suicide rate among our veterans.
yeah.
And hope is so important in that scenario, and really with anyone who's facing a challenge, having
Yeah.
hope, having something there that has you moving forward, has you looking towards something. Man, does that make a difference.
Totally. Totally. And I can I can thank my parents for that. Honestly, I think when I look back on my childhood, there could have been two very different approaches to this, right? Brain surgery at 2 weeks old. I can't imagine. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when they got that news, right? Like just they probably fell over. Um, Hope, when I was a kid, they could have done two different, very different things. They could have said, Jeff, you're sick. You have to have surgery. We're going to put you in a bubble. We're going to lock you in a room. We're going to give you a helmet. We're going to get you your IEP at school, and you're going to be, you're different. We don't want to let you outside. No, 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 no. Thank God that's not what they did. They said, you know what, Jeff? You're a kid. Go be a kid. By the way, you've had a few surgeries. You've had some pretty serious surgeries. So don't bang your head around. Don't play soccer. Don't play football. Be smart, but go be a kid, and enjoy it, have fun. And so they, instead of football, they steered me towards band, right? Or instead of soccer, they steered me towards choir, and stuff like that. So I've been a musician my whole life. And so, there we go. I don't know what happened there. We're on, but that's okay. Maybe it'll fix itself. Anyway, so that's the deal, man. And thank God I was in band, man. I met my wife in seventh grade band class. So if I
Oh my
hadn't
gosh, that's exciting.
if I hadn't been in band class, where would I be now? I sure might not be married to her. Who knows, right? So you never know. Things work in mysterious ways, and so that's part of the story. That's the hope. I was able to hold on to that hope because I was able to live my life, and go and do things, and not feel like I'm a walking test tube. So
Right.
yeah,
And that's kind of a theme that's what we love to celebrate here. We're celebrating the ability in all of us. And it sounds like that's exactly the attitude your parents had, making it be that truly it's what do we have in us? What can we do? And making that choice of going through school and staying away from the things that could hurt you more than most, right?
Right.
Because getting a head injury would be a horrible thing, well, for anybody. But what if you've
I
already
mean,
got
yeah,
something going on? That's it's a sensible conclusion to say, let's go the music route. And I mean,
yeah,
I was in music. I loved all that stuff when I was in high school and junior high and all that too.
yeah.
And it's a great direction to go. You've and bonus, find your wife. I mean, my goodness.
Hey, yeah, can't argue with that. Well, and just to give people a little bit of an idea here, so hydrocephalus, I mean, just to give you an idea of why it was not safe for me to bang my head around. I mean, I say the word hydrocephalus, I say brain surgery, but just to paint a little picture here real quick and give you a little bit of an anatomy lesson here. So your brain is always producing fluid. Always 24/7. It produces about a quart a day of what's called cerebral spinal fluid. So that fluid is what cushions your brain against your skull. So it's not just rattling around up there. It's floating in that fluid, right? Well, it's got to go somewhere. Your brain, your skull is only so big. So it has ventricles built into your brain that drain that fluid down your spinal column to reabsorb into your body. For me, and for probably lots of other people born with hydrocephalus, one of those ventricles was blocked. The fluid didn't have anywhere to go. And so they did surgery. That's what the brain surgery was for. So at 2 weeks old, they drilled a hole in my skull behind my right ear and threaded a little tube in there to access that fluid that wasn't draining, attached a shunt, which is kind of like a fancy word for a pump, to that which lays against my skull here. And then there's a tube at the south end of that shunt that kind of reroutes that fluid somewhere else in the body to reabsorb. So it's kind of like an artificial ventricle, right? So the thing is that those shunts have some of the highest failure rates of any medical device in the history of medicine. And so that's the reason for the repeated brain surgery. That's the reason for not banging your head around if you don't have to. There's a device here that could be damaged, which could send you to brain surgery again. And so the fact that I've only had and by the way, the average lifespan of one of these shunts is 2 to 3 years, by the way.
Oh,
On
wow.
average, people with hydrocephalus are having brain surgery every 2 to 3 years. I've had
Whew.
7. I'm 49 years old. I've had 7. I am way ahead of the curve. And
Wow.
this is very common, by the way, in case you've never heard of it. There are over 400,000 babies born with this every single year. And anybody can acquire hydrocephalus at any time. If you get anything that obstructs the flow of fluid can cause hydrocephalus. So traumatic brain injury, tumor, anything like that. So it's a wild thing that so few people have heard of, which is why we want to get the word out. So there's your lesson for today.
I love that because ironically with that it was I'm trying to think how long it's been. I've only known one other individual that has shared with me that that's a challenge he has as well, and I know he's the one that I hear often. It's like, oh, gotta go back to the
Yeah,
hospital. I got more because he's always got medical things going on, and but if you met him, you would have no idea. It's
yeah.
one of those things that it's like he's telling me about headaches all the time, and oh, it sounds really difficult, really challenging, and I, not having that experience, I can't possibly understand truly what's happening there. But it's helpful to know more information, right? Like what you just did. You educated us on what that is and how that works,
Yeah,
because how do we know otherwise? So I appreciate you sharing and being educational with all of us here.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I do see Michael is in the wings here. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Michael Martin Hummel to join us. Michael, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I got a little late. It's a little hectic on this end right now.
It's all good. Always good to see you. Glad you're here.
I had to feel so like a kid.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I had hydrocephalus as a kid.
You had that as well as a kid. Okay, so now I see that's one of
There you
those
go.
things. It's more common than we realize.
I'm telling you, if you out there in radio land have 1,000 Facebook friends, which a lot of people do, right? A lot of people have a
Oh yeah.
or Instagram or TikTok or whatever your social media of choice is. If you have 800 or 900 friends on there, chances are probably one or two of them have hydrocephalus, and you don't even know it. It's that common. So gives you a little perspective there, right?
Yeah.
You never know what somebody's walking around with. So kind of cool.
That's where coming back to the whole concept of kindness to those that you know and those that you encounter every day, because you don't know what each other is dealing with, what's their walk in life.
Yep.
And when I talk about kindness, that always makes me think of the other one that's in the background here with us as well, Marianne of Waikiki, because she is the author of the series, the Acts of Kindness series. So, Marianne, why don't you come on in and
Nice.
say hi? How are you?
Hi, aloha, Milwaukee. I'm Marianne of Waikiki. It's my sign language name, my book author name. I'm the author of the Acts of Kindness series featuring 200 folk manus puppets with sign language capabilities. And the books are written for animation movies with a soundtrack by Lucy Lynch and The Perfect Wave, where Nick's guitar echoes the whales and dolphins sound. We feature Noah the hard of hearing whale. We waterflow the deaf whale. We have Chelsea the courageous sign language chicken, Eve the finger spelling bumblebee. It goes on and on and on. And we have a YouTube channel now. So I'm so grateful to be here in Milwaukee because I had a classroom teacher in Hawaii request books through donorschoose.org. And she got funded, and the class got books and coloring books and Folkmanis puppets. And I also won the Awesome Grant Foundation Award, not once, but twice, for Hawaii School for the Deaf and Blind and Minnesota School for the Deaf and Blind. So we want to multiply the acts of kindness series, and we are moving forward. We just celebrated World Water Day, March 22nd, Sunday, and dedicated the book to Leon McLaughlin, Cool Acts of Kindness. And we went out on the catamaran with Brennan Williams, a sound bath bowl healer, and Marta brought her drumming, and what an amazing event. So we edited it today for you, Sue and Kurt, to show on the World of Ability podcast. And we also are going to be starting the book club with Cool Acts of Kindness with storyteller Santa Papa John every Saturday. So we are sharing the kindness. So great to meet our new guest here. Yes, I overcame. I was a case manager with the deaf 30 some years ago. I was in an auto accident, lost some of my hearing. I suffered from vertigo. I just had treatment again with a chiropractor and a new acupuncturist here in San Carlos because the vertigo came back. So struggling through that and going to Hawaii, I met a deaf man and I ended up interpreting for him. And what a beautiful journey. And the universe told this was my next purpose. So from shifting that energy of being injured, what am I going to do next? How am I going to live? We created the characters such as Noah, the hard of hearing whale. He's injured in a boating accident and loses his hearing, and he's rehabilitated by Dr. Fingers, the finger spelling hermit crab. Now, he was a real chiropractor that worked on me in Hawaii for over a decade. And so shifting those stories, and yes, so we'd love to talk more, and we've got some up videos. We're here in San Carlos at the Colibri, the paint party. I just created a new book for Alex Mendoza, the restaurant owner. It's called Humming Acts of Kindness, with the Colibri means hummingbird. And it's another short story that I created. And so that will give me some momentum to work on this summer while it gets extremely hot. I know you guys are up there in winter, man. It is summer. It just boom. And we'll be sailing again. Captain went up to Tucson to get a new motor for the dinghy, and we hope to set sail. And we'll be creating, but we got the air conditioner on. It's 80 degrees and above. He said it was 104 in Phoenix, just to let you guys know. So I know you're up there in the winter months, but yeah, we're feeling the heat, but we're ready to create. So thank you so much, Milwaukee. You stay warm, and go to donorschoose.org.
It's
And
83 here in Colorado, so I'm with you. Just no humidity. So
Bonus where you are without the humidity. Yeah, actually, and I was surprised. My car today said 70. I was not expecting that. I left this morning with a winter jacket
Noise.
and it was 70 on my ride home. So definite
Cool.
positive for the day here. So,
Yeah.
well, and Jeff, I want to make sure to give you a chance if there's any specific take home message or words that you want to be sure to share with folks while we still have a few minutes. I want to
Yeah.
open the mic for you.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I, you know, everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something going on. Everybody feels like when it's your thing, it's very impactful, right? So compassion is huge, because you never know what somebody else is going through. So it took me a long time to learn that. Over the last 12 years and 4 brain surgeries, I learned it pretty quick. So that is definitely a second nature thing for me now. And the other thing is, uh, you know, as crazy as things get and as dark as things seem sometimes, life doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. So
I
launch and
love that.
adjust, launch and adjust. God can't steer a parked car, man. You got to be moving forward. So, it doesn't have, don't wait for it to be perfect. It'll never be perfect. So, yeah,
Oh,
that's
and
been,
that is beautiful. Those are words to live by right there. You don't have to say it again. It doesn't have to be perfect to
life
move
doesn't
forward.
have to be perfect to be amazing.
I absolutely love that. I hope that's one that can sink in with more than just me because that hits home. Is for the longest time I was always like I gotta get it right. I gotta do that. And it would slow me down. It would stop me in my
Yes.
tracks because like, well, I'm scared to move forward if I'm not doing it right. I can't do this. And it's like, no, just go, just do it, and it'll be what it's gonna be. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be perfect. And thank goodness we're all
Right.
different and we all bring something extremely valuable to the table. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love what you guys do, what you're doing with your programming. And I believe you have a website as well. Do you want to share what your website is?
So our nonprofit's website is hydrowithhope.com. It's HYDRO, hydrowithhope.com. And yeah, that's our website. It's got our story on there. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on there to explore. So good stuff. Yeah. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Awesome. And Michael, I'll pass it back to you for just a moment here. Anything that you want to make sure to share out today?
No, I just wanted to tell you that I'll definitely be reaching out because I like. I'm curious to hear more about what you've been through as far as the hydrocephalus because even though I had it, I don't really know much about it.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
there's you guys have a connection with with warriors and how that is part of your terminology too, that I think you two are going to really enjoy getting to know each other more too.
Cool. Love it. Yeah. Bring it on.
Definitely.
And I know Michael also had recently an event where it was focused on hidden how did you word it? Invisible
Hidden disabilities,
disabilities?
hidden disabilities, invisible disabilities.
And so once a month, Michael brings together experts and folks that can tell their own story about what it is
Oh, nice.
on a topic. And that was a recent topic. And boy, I know it's out there, it's available, and you had some amazing speakers on there. I did get to listen into some. And so again, this is Jeff
Yeah.
Pearson here with Marianne of Waikiki and Michael Hummel, and my name again is Sue Roscoff. With all of us here at Ability MKE Now, we thank you.